Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into something I think a lot of you out there are probably struggling with. Picking the right UX research tools.
Yeah.
It can be a tough choice, I think,
Yeah.
especially if you're looking at a platform like UserTesting
Mm.
and you see the price tag and you kind of start to sweat a little bit and you think, well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe I should be looking at something a little bit more, in my budget, something like a Maze or a D-Scout, especially if you're mostly focused on usability testing right now.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a really smart consideration, especially given the fact that I feel like the whole field of UX research is kind of at a crossroads right now. There was this really interesting Medium article that came out recently called "The UX Research Reckoning is Here." And
Right.
it kind of, struck a nerve with a lot of folks.
Reckoning. That sounds a little ominous.
Yeah, it does.
So, the article talks about how UX research has gone through this like golden age.
Right.
And now it seems like maybe things are not so golden anymore. So what happened? What went wrong?
Yeah, so the past 15 years have seen incredible growth in the field of UX research. Tons of companies are hiring UX researchers. There are all these new tools popping up. It's been a total boom, but there's a catch. The article argues that a lot of this growth has been in what they call middle range research,
Hmm.
which, isn't necessarily a bad thing,
Okay.
but it is limited.
Okay. So this is where I think things get really interesting and relevant to what we were just talking about with like picking the right tool.
Right.
Because the article says that middle range research can get stuck in this kind of tactical focus. Like,
Yeah.
is that button in the right place? Is this form easy to understand? Like
Yeah.
essential stuff.
Yeah.
But
But it kind of misses the why.
okay.
It's almost like if you went to a doctor and they just treated your symptoms without ever trying to diagnose the underlying disease.
Wow, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, so you might fix those surface level usability issues,
Right.
but without understanding the deeper user needs and motivations, you're missing the bigger picture.
So what you're saying is if I were to rely solely on a tool like Maze or D-Scout, which again are great for, usability testing,
Right.
I might be kind of pigeonholing myself into this like tactical trap where I'm just putting Band-Aids on problems instead of really getting to the root cause.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I mean, Maze and Scout are fantastic for getting quick feedback on specific design elements.
Right.
But they might not offer the depth that you need to conduct the kind of strategic research that uncovers the why behind user behavior and helps companies make those bigger product decisions.
And the article actually goes so far as to say that 90% of U.S. research should shift to what they call macro research.
Wow, 90%. That's a big number.
It is a big number.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what does that even look like in practice?
Yeah, so it's about shifting the focus from can users use this to why are users doing what they're doing? It's about understanding the context of their lives, their goals, their frustrations. And this is where a tool like user testing with its wider range of research methods could come in handy.
So instead of just asking, can you find the buy now button, I might ask, what are you hoping to achieve by purchasing this product?
Exactly. That's the kind of question that uncovers those deeper motivations and leads to those aha moments.
Right.
And, it can completely change your understanding of the user and lead to more innovative solutions.
So the article also mentions that, UX researchers need to understand business goals and be able to translate their research findings into actionable insights.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like user testing could really shine in that area.
Absolutely. User testing's features like, in-depth interviews, diary studies, they can help you paint a much richer picture of the user experience. You're not just observing clicks and taps, you're delving into their thoughts, feelings, and motivations. And this allows you to connect the dots between those user needs and those business objectives. So while tools like Maze and DoScout can help you make a better product, user testing has the potential to help you build the right product.
That's a pretty compelling distinction.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering, is there a risk of going too far in the other direction?
Yeah.
Because the article also warns about middle range research being, not specific enough.
Right.
So what does that mean in terms of macro research?
Yeah, so the author argues that some macro research can get lost in these generalities. For example, imagine saying users want to feel empowered.
Okay.
What does that actually mean for decision decisions?
Right.
User testing's strength lies in its ability to gather detailed, specific insights grounded in real user experiences. You're not just talking about these abstract concepts.
Right.
You're seeing real people interact with your product,
Right.
hearing them articulate their needs and frustrations.
So it's not just about asking the right questions. It's about getting specific, actionable answers that can directly inform those design choices. It sounds like choosing the right tool is crucial for navigating this shift towards more strategic research.
It's a key takeaway. It's not just about the tool's features. It's about how well it aligns with your research goals and the level of insight you're aiming to provide.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to stay in that realm of tactical fixes,
Yeah.
or are you ready to delve deeper into the strategic why? That's the question you need to ask yourself.
And that question leads us right into the heart of this whole UX research reckoning thing.
Right.
What exactly does the author mean by that? Like, is the sky falling for UX researchers?
Well, they point to these recent tech layoffs as a sign that maybe UX research isn't delivering the value that businesses expect.
Oh.
And this goes back to that overemphasis on middle-range research. If all we're doing is tweaking buttons,
Yeah.
our value can be questioned pretty easily.
Yeah, especially in uncertain economic times.
Exactly.
So is this a call to action? Like, if I don't step up my strategic game, my job might be on the line.
I wouldn't necessarily frame it as a threat, but more as an opportunity. By embracing macro research and utilizing tools like user testing that enable that more strategic approach.
Right.
You can demonstrate the true value of UX research and really ensure its continued relevance.
Okay, so instead of seeing this reckoning as like a threat, I should see it as a chance to, level up and become an even more valuable asset to my team.
Exactly. It's an opportunity to redefine your role, expand your skill set, and become a strategic partner in shaping the future of products and services.
Okay, I like that. Now, the article also talks about the importance of telling stories in UX research.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not talking about fairy tales and bedtime stories.
Right.
So what does that mean?
It's about translating those rich user insights that you gather into compelling narratives that resonate with stakeholders. So instead of presenting your research findings as a dry list of bullet points,
Yeah.
imagine presenting them as a story that captures the user's journey, their struggles, their triumphs.
Okay, so instead of saying like 75% of users had difficulty finding the checkout button,
Right.
I might say, meet Sarah. She's a busy mom who is excited to buy your product, but she got so frustrated trying to find the checkout button that she abandoned her cart.
Exactly. You're bringing Sarah to life.
Right.
You're making her struggles real and tangible, and that's what makes stakeholders sit up and take notice.
And tools like user testing can help me gather like the raw material for these stories,
Yeah.
right? Like those video clips of users interacting with the product, the audio recordings of their thoughts and feelings. That becomes like the building blocks of my narrative.
Precisely. User testing allows you to capture the richness and complexity of the user experience and gives you the tools to craft those compelling narratives that resonate with stakeholders and drive real change.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how user testing could help me make that leap from tactical to strategic.
Yeah.
But the article also mentions this need for UX researchers to develop business acumen.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What does that even mean? And why is it so important?
Business acumen means understanding the business context in which your research exists.
Okay.
So what are the company's goals? What are the market trends? What are the competitive pressures? It's about seeing that big picture and making sure that your research aligns with those business objectives.
So it's not just about understanding the user, it's about understanding the business environment in which that user exists.
Exactly. So imagine you're researching a new feature for a mobile banking app, and you discover that users are really clamoring for this specific functionality.
Okay.
But if that functionality doesn't align with the bank's overall strategy,
Right.
or maybe the regulatory requirements, it's unlikely to ever see the light of day.
So having that business acumen helps me connect my research findings to the bottom line,
Yeah.
making it more relevant and impactful for those decision makers.
Exactly. It's about speaking the language of business, demonstrating that you understand the company's goals,
Yeah.
and showing how your research can contribute to their success. This elevates UX research beyond just usability and positions it as a strategic driver of growth and innovation.
So what I'm hearing is that this whole reckoning thing is actually a golden opportunity for UX researchers.
I think so.
It's a chance to step up, embrace a more strategic mindset, and really demonstrate the value that we bring to the table.
Absolutely. It's about evolving our skills, expanding our toolkit, and
Mhm.
becoming those indispensable partners in shaping the future of products and services. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be talking about the platinum age of UX research.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to how user testing can specifically help you make this strategic leap,
Okay.
let's take a quick pause.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's say you decide, okay, I'm gonna explore user testing.
Okay.
How do you actually use it to kind of escape that middle range tactical trap
Right.
and get to those like juicy strategic insights?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Because the article keeps mentioning this like micro to macro shift.
Yeah.
So can you break that down for our listener? Like, what does that actually look like
Yeah, absolutely.
in terms of user testing?
So think of micro as those nitty-gritty usability questions like, can users easily navigate the menu? Do they understand what that button does?
Okay.
User testing's unmoderated testing is perfect for this. You get quick targeted feedback on those specific design elements. It's like a surgical strike on usability issues.
Okay.
But to reach that macro level, the
Right.
why behind those clicks and taps, you need to go deeper.
Right.
And that's where user testing's qualitative features really shine.
Okay.
So think in-depth interviews where you're actually talking to users,
Right.
understanding their motivations, their frustrations, the context of their lives.
Right.
You're not just observing their behavior, you're getting inside their heads.
And that's something that, a tool like Maze or DrawScout might not offer to the same extent.
Right.
It seems like they're much more geared toward that quantitative usability data.
Exactly.
Like how many users clicked on this button, what percentage completed this task.
That's right. And while those tools are fantastic for identifying those usability roadblocks,
Right.
they might not give you the full story.
Right.
That rich tapestry of user needs and motivations.
Right.
User testing, on the other hand, allows you to combine both the quantitative and the qualitative.
Okay.
It's like having a microscope and a wide-angle lens all in one.
Okay, so let's say I'm conducting an interview on user testing.
Okay.
What are some questions that I could ask to really unlock that macro level, that strategic gold?
Yeah, so the magic happens when your questions move beyond the interface itself into the user's world.
Okay.
So you might ask things like, what are you ultimately trying to achieve when you use this product? Or what are your biggest pain points in this area, even beyond the specific website or app?
So it's about getting to the core of like their desires, their struggles,
Right.
their overall experience,
Mhm.
even if it's not directly related to like the interface I'm testing.
You got it. It's like stepping back from the individual trees
Wow.
and seeing the whole forest.
Okay.
And that broader perspective can reveal unmet needs, hidden opportunities for innovation and potential areas for growth that you might never have discovered by focusing solely on usability.
The article also talks about, translating those research insights into actionable recommendations.
Yeah,
Can user testing help me bridge that gap?
absolutely.
Because, it's one thing to gather insights,
Right.
but it's another to actually do something with them.
Yeah, and remember those in-depth interviews we talked about?
Right.
User testing allows you to capture and share key moments from those sessions.
Okay.
So you can create highlight reels of users articulating those pain points, expressing their excitement about a particular feature,
Oh, wow.
or even revealing, clever workarounds they've invented to deal with those usability issues.
So instead of just saying like, users found this confusing,
Right.
I can show my stakeholders a video clip of
Exactly.
a user actually struggling with the interface.
Yeah. That's way more impactful than a bullet point on a PowerPoint slide.
Right. Way more powerful.
Exactly. It's about making that data come alive,
Yeah.
making it tangible, relatable, and persuasive. It's one thing to tell stakeholders about user pain points,
Right.
but it's another thing entirely to show them.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but, the article does make it seem like UX research is in kind of a shaky place right now.
Yeah.
So do you think that user testing is equipped to help researchers navigate this so-called reckoning?
I absolutely do, but it's all about how you use it.
Okay.
If you limit yourself to just basic usability testing, you're missing out on user testing's full potential.
Right.
But if you leverage its qualitative research capabilities, its ability to capture those rich, nuanced user insights,
Right.
then you're cooking with gas. You're
Right.
turning insights into stories that resonate and inspire action.
The article also mentioned that, UX researchers need to kind of retool their skills to adapt to this shift.
Right.
So what skills are we talking about here? Like, what do I need to level up if I want to play in this strategic sandbox?
Well, first and foremost, you need to be a master of analysis.
Okay.
It's not enough to just collect the data.
Right.
You need to be able to sift through it, identify the patterns,
Right.
extract those meaningful insights.
Okay.
Think of yourself as a detective piecing together clues to solve a mystery.
So I need to go beyond just reporting like what users did and delve into the why,
Right.
the motivations, the context.
Precisely. And once you've uncovered those insights,
Okay.
you need to communicate them effectively.
Right.
And this is where storytelling comes in.
Yeah.
You need to be able to weave those insights into a compelling narrative that captures the attention of your stakeholders and inspires them to act.
So it's not enough to be a data cruncher.
Right.
I also need to be a storyteller, someone who can bring those user experiences to life
Right.
and make them feel real and relatable
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
for my audience.
And the article also stressed the importance of business acumen.
Right.
And this might sound a little intimidating,
Yeah, a little bit.
but it's crucial for elevating UX research to that strategic level.
Okay, so break it down for me. What does business acumen mean in the world of UX research?
Yeah, it's about understanding the business context in which your research exists.
Okay.
So what are the company's goals? What are the market trends?
Right.
What are the competitive pressures? It's about understanding the bigger picture
Okay.
and making sure that your research aligns with those business objectives.
So it's about connecting the dots between those user needs and the business objectives, showing how my research findings can help the company achieve its goals,
Right.
whether that's, increasing revenue,
Right.
improving customer satisfaction, or innovating, new products and services.
That's it. It's about speaking the language of business, demonstrating that you understand the bigger picture,
Yeah.
and showing how your research can drive real business value.
Okay, so this all sounds a bit overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, I can understand that.
How can a tool like user testing really help me develop all of these skills?
Yeah. So user testing can be your secret weapon in this strategic evolution.
Okay.
It provides the platform and the tools to conduct the kind of in-depth research that uncovers those strategic insights.
Right.
But it's more than just a tool.
Okay.
It's a catalyst for a shift in mindset.
So user testing is not going to magically transform me into a strategic UX research guru overnight.
Right.
It's about using the tool strategically, asking the right questions, and really focusing on uncovering those deeper user needs and motivations.
You got it. Think of user testing as like a powerful telescope.
Oh.
It allows you to see further, to explore new territories,
Right.
to discover hidden insights that would have remained invisible without it.
Right.
But you still need to know where to point the telescope
Right.
and how to interpret what you see.
This is starting to make a lot of sense, but I have to admit, the articles talk about a UX research reckoning.
Right.
It still has me feeling a little uneasy. Is my job really at risk if I don't embrace this strategic shift?
Well, I wouldn't frame it as a threat, but rather as an opportunity
Yeah.
to level up and become an even more valuable asset to your team
Right.
by embracing that macro research,
Right.
developing those storytelling skills, and understanding the language of business. You're not just safeguarding your job.
Right.
You're creating new possibilities for yourself.
Okay, so instead of viewing this as like a do or die situation, I should see it as a chance to evolve,
Exactly.
to expand my skills and become, a more well-rounded and influential UX researcher.
Exactly. The UX research field is constantly evolving.
Right.
And this so-called reckoning is just another step in that evolution.
Right.
And like any evolution, it presents both challenges and opportunities.
Right.
It's up to each of us to decide how we want to respond.
And it sounds like user testing can be a valuable partner in that journey,
Absolutely.
providing the tools and the platform to help us make that leap from tactical to strategic.
But remember, user testing is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Right.
The real transformation happens within you,
Okay.
in your mindset, in your approach to research, and in your commitment to becoming a strategic thought leader.
This has been incredibly insightful.
I'm glad to hear that.
But before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on one more thing.
Okay.
The article mentions the importance of conversation in UX research.
Oh, yeah.
So how does that play out in the context of using a tool like user testing?
Great question. It's easy to get caught up in the data
Right.
and forget that UX research is ultimately about people.
Yeah.
User testing can help you bring those user voices to life,
Right.
to share their stories with your team, and to spark meaningful conversations about the user experience.
So it's not just about using user testing to gather data in isolation.
Right.
It's about using it to facilitate dialogue, to build empathy,
Yeah.
and to create this shared understanding of the user experience across the organization.
You nailed it. User testing can be a really powerful tool for breaking down those silos.
Fostering collaboration and ensuring that everyone is aligned around that goal of creating user-centered products and services.
This has been incredibly helpful.
I'm glad it was helpful.
I'm starting to see user testing not just as a usability testing tool, but as a platform for, driving that strategic change.
Yeah.
But before we send our listener off to explore user testing on their own,
Okay.
let's take a quick pause.
When we come back, we'll offer some final thoughts and some actionable advice for navigating this UX research reckoning
Okay.
and emerging as a stronger, more strategic researcher.
All right, so we've talked about this whole UX research reckoning thing and how a tool like user testing can help you really level up your strategic game.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real, it can feel kind of daunting to actually make this shift.
Right.
So where do you even begin?
Well, it's like learning any new skill, right?
Right.
It takes time and effort and, a willingness to step outside your comfort zone a little bit, but
Yeah.
the rewards are definitely worth it.
The article doesn't really give us like a step-by-step guide or anything,
Right.
but it does highlight a few key areas to focus on. And it might sound obvious, but it all starts with mastering the fundamentals of research.
Yeah, you got to have that solid foundation.
Right. Like it's
Right.
easy to get caught up in the excitement of, new tools and methodologies.
Oh, yeah, all the shiny new toys.
Exactly. All the shiny new toys. But
Yeah.
if you don't have that solid foundation in research design, data analysis, ethical considerations,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of building a house of cards.
Right.
It might look impressive for a while, but
Yeah, it's not
it's
just...
not going to stand the test of time.
Exactly.
So before I dive headfirst into user testing and start running all these, elaborate studies,
Right.
I need to make sure I understand the basics. Like,
Right.
how do you even formulate a research question?
Right.
How to choose the right research methods? How to analyze data and draw meaningful conclusions?
Exactly. Those are the building blocks of good research, regardless of what tools you're using. Right. And luckily, there are tons of resources available to help you brush up on those fundamentals.
Right.
Online courses, books, workshops, you name it.
Okay, good to know. The article also talks about, the importance of staying up to date with like the latest trends and technologies in UX research.
Oh, yeah. The field is constantly evolving.
Right.
Well,
It feels like there are new tools and approaches popping up all the time.
every day.
So how can I keep up with all of that
Yeah.
without getting completely overwhelmed?
One of the best ways to stay ahead of the curve is to engage with the UX research community.
Okay.
So attend conferences, join online forums, follow thought leaders on social media.
Right.
It's a great way to learn from others, share your experiences, and just get a sense of where the field is heading.
It's like having this network of mentors and peers
Mhm.
who can kind of guide you and challenge you,
Yeah, keep you inspired.
inspire you to keep growing.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to experiment with new tools and methodologies.
Right.
The UX Research Toolkit is constantly expanding, so there's always something new to learn and explore.
Okay, but how do I know which tools are worth my time and attention?
Yeah,
Because there are so many options out there.
there are.
It's easy to get, caught up in the hype and end up with like a toolbox full of shiny objects that I never actually use.
Right, right. So that's where that critical thinking comes in.
Okay.
Don't just jump on every new bandwagon.
Right.
Take some time to evaluate those new tools and methodologies, considering your specific needs, your research goals, and of course your budget.
So it's about being selective, thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
and strategic
Yeah,
about how I build my UX research toolkit.
exactly. And remember, the best tool isn't always the newest or the fanciest.
Right.
Sometimes the simplest tool is the most effective.
Okay.
It all comes down to choosing the right tool for the right job.
So let's bring this back to like your original dilemma.
Okay.
You're trying to decide between user testing, which offers this wide range of research capabilities,
Right.
but it does come with, a bit of a hefty price tag
Mm-hmm.
versus those more affordable options like Maze or Dscout,
Right.
which are great at usability testing,
Mm-hmm.
but might not give you the depth that you need for those strategic insights.
Right.
So how can this whole reckoning thing
Yeah.
inform your decision?
Yeah, so the reckoning really highlights that growing demand for UX researchers who can think strategically,
Okay.
who can go beyond identifying those usability issues
Mhm.
and uncover that deeper why behind user behavior.
Right.
It's about connecting those insights to those business goals and demonstrating the value of UX research in driving product strategy and business success.
So as I'm kind of weighing my options,
Right.
I should be asking myself, which tool will best equip me to provide those strategic insights?
Exactly.
Which tool will allow me to delve into those, deeper user needs and motivations?
Mm-hmm.
Tell those compelling stories that resonate with stakeholders
Mm-hmm.
and connect my findings to those big picture business goals.
Mm-hmm. You're getting it. It's about choosing tools that align with your aspirations as a UX researcher.
Okay.
Do you want to be a master of usability testing?
Hmm.
Or do you want to be a strategic thought leader who shapes the future of products and services?
That's a powerful distinction.
Yeah.
And it really gets to the heart of what this whole conversation has been about. It's not just about choosing the right tool.
Right.
It's about choosing the right path for your career as a UX researcher.
And that brings us to the final thought we want to leave you with.
Yeah.
The future of UX research isn't predetermined.
Right.
It's being shaped right now by the choices that UX researchers like you make every single day.
Okay, so it sounds like we're all standing at a fork in the road.
Yeah.
One path leads to a future where UX research is seen as this kind of tactical, nice-to-have function.
Right.
The other path leads to a future where UX research is a strategic, must-have driver of innovation and growth.
Exactly. The choice is yours. Will you embrace the challenge of this reckoning? Will you step up and become a strategic thought leader who shapes the future of products and services? Or will you stay in your comfort zone and risk being left behind?
That is a powerful question, and one that I hope our listeners will really take to heart.
Yeah, me too.
The future of UX research is in our hands.
It is.
Let's choose wisely.